What up? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And look at you. You done stumbled upon little OTB Saints, where we bring you all the latest black and gold coverage.
Who are the Saints going to draft? Who's going to be their quarterback? What does the salary cap look like? All that information and more.
Hope you enjoy it. Like, subscribe.
A report came out yesterday, a little after noon, and it wasn't really a report. It was just kind of a story of Diana Rossini and Mike Florio both giving their opinions on this Derek Carr injury. We all know that Friday afternoon, right during AFR, it was announced that Derek Carr could possibly miss the entire 2025 season with a so-called shoulder injury that may require surgery. Guys, it's Wednesday, and nobody in this room has any idea what is wrong with Derek Carr's shoulder. It's been almost a week, and there is no information about what kind of injury he has, other than, well, his shoulder's injured. Me and Musso were talking about it. Like, we were producing AFR on Friday, and I'm like, it's April. How'd you hurt your shoulder? What did you do? Did you not know about this? Well, Diana Rossini and Mike Florio, they kind of think something a little fishy is going on. So Diana Rossini said that she thinks the situation's fishy. She said maybe this is Derek Carr looking at a situation going, I don't want the Kirk Cousins treatment. I don't want to be your quarterback. You guys draft a young guy, and it's basically, when is this guy going to play? She said, I did have a lot of text messages and conversations over the last few days about the Derek Carr situation, and it was very hard for me to find someone in football who said, oh, Derek's definitely dealing with a shoulder injury. It was, how long have you been doing this? You know what this is about. Trade bait, end of the day, that's what this is about. Mike Florio kind of echoed something similar. He said, I don't think this was a coincidence. I think he knew he was injured. I think we all found out about it 13 days before the Saints are going to take Shedeur Sanders, and I think that at some level he hopes it's going to screw up their ability to take Sanders. Okay. A lot of people had a lot of reactions about this report. I don't know how much fact this is based off of, and I don't want this to sound like I'm defending Derek Carr, because I'm not. As far as I'm concerned, I don't want Derek Carr playing another game in the black and gold. This is not really based on concrete evidence. I mean, at the end of the day, this is Diana Rossini and Mike Florio's opinions. Do I have any reason to doubt them? No. Do I have any reason to just blindly believe them? No. It's certainly a confusing set of circumstances, but go back and look what they said. Diana said, I've had a lot of text message conversations, and nobody can nail down exactly what's wrong. I understand that it's a weird situation. That doesn't necessarily mean Derek Carr's faking his injury. Mike Florio said, I think he's trying to prevent them from taking Shedeur Sanders. Two things wrong with that. I don't think they were taking Shedeur before this injury. Secondly, wouldn't that strengthen the reason to take Shedeur Sanders, not kind of help them back away from it? Like, if you don't have Derek Carr, I would think you're more likely to take Shedeur and not less likely. Look, if Derek Carr if it comes out that he is lying about this shoulder injury, cut him now. Get rid of him, cut your losses, move on. He's already one of the worst free agent signings that you have ever had in the history of your franchise. Get rid of him. He clearly doesn't want to be here. He's not good enough to have this type of attitude. If you were Patrick Mahomes, if you were Josh Allen, and you're doing all of this because you don't want to mentor a young quarterback, it may not be the right thing to do, but it's like, okay, we can maybe understand you've done a lot in this league. Derek Carr doesn't even have a playoff win. Like, Derek Carr cannot act like this. Did he make all the things about the shoulder injury up? I don't know. We'll find out in due time. Again, I know a lot of people reacted to this report from Diana Rossini, and I get it. The thing is, I just kind of look at it more speculation than based on cold, hard facts. I mean, like, one thing Diana said that, like, I didn't necessarily agree with. She noted that it is a, quote, fact that the Saints are on a mission to draft a quarterback in 2025, though she didn't specify what round they were hoping to make that splash in. Is that a fact? I mean, a lot of people, like, maybe assume that's going to happen. Like, you've heard Shedeur at 9, and then it's like, okay, well, maybe it's not Shedeur at 9. Maybe it's Tyler Shuck at 40. Maybe it's Quinn Ewers a little bit later down the road. Like, maybe they like Jackson Dart. Like, you've heard those rumors, but I don't know if you can call that a fact. I don't know if you can say the Saints are on a mission to draft their quarterback of the future. A lot of people have said if the Saints, like myself included, maybe don't want them to draft a quarterback in the first round. I don't. Am I okay with a quarterback at 40? Maybe. Now, the Derek Carr situation certainly changes things a little bit. We'll see what his availability is in 2025. But next year's quarterback class is a lot more loaded than this year's. You can have the opinion that the Saints are on a mission to draft a quarterback here in 2025. I don't really know how you can call that a fact. So there's a lot that I don't like about this report, including the fact that there's a rumor that your starting quarterback is potentially faking an injury so that he can be traded. That's another problem. A lot of people have said, okay, well, Derek Carr's faking this injury because he doesn't want to be with the Saints and he wants to be traded. Why would you trade for Derek Carr now that he has an injury? Like, if Derek Carr's plan is, I'm going to fake an injury so the Saints trade me, like, wouldn't your trade value be next to nothing? You get a big contract. You haven't even performed up to that contract when you're on the field, and now you're telling me you have a shoulder injury that could cost you the 2025 season? What team is dumb enough to take on that? I mean, I get it. Some quarterback-hungry teams like the Cleveland Browns come to mind, but, I mean, are you doing that like this? Again, like, if I'm not saying Derek Carr is faking or not faking this injury. I don't know. He very well may be. I don't think it's because, like, he's trying to force a trade. Maybe he's just mad at the organization and just trying to put him in a bad spot in general. I kind of feel like your trade value would drop after this news of a shoulder injury came outside. I don't know about that either. But here's something interesting. Cody Benjamin of CBS Sports put this out Sunday night. So just a few days after Derek Carr's injury was announced. And he brought up Kirk Cousins. And if Kirk Cousins could be released, where could he go? He mentioned that the ultimate landing spot, his favorite, would be the Cleveland Browns. It's fine. Cleveland Browns have signed Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco. I don't think they're going to sign a third quarterback in the same offseason. I just don't see that happening. He mentioned that Cousins and Stefanski spent a little bit of time together in Minnesota before Stefanski took on that Cleveland Browns job. The next team he mentions is the Minnesota Vikings. I don't think the Vikings do this. One, I don't think they're going to trade for him and take on the big contract that Atlanta gave him. But let's say, for this argument, they cut Kirk Cousins. He's a free agent. He's no longer tied to the Atlanta Falcons. Even then, why would the Vikings make this move? They didn't go after Aaron Rodgers. I mean, they talked to him, but they didn't really seriously pursue him because they said they like J.J. McCarthy. They moved on from Sam Darnold because they like J.J. McCarthy. And Kirk Cousins was already in your building. You didn't like him enough to re-sign him. You let him walk in free agency. Now that he had probably the worst year of his career, you're going to bring him back? I don't see that happening at all. The last team is obviously the most interesting. The last team that Cody Benjamin puts in there as a landing spot potentially for Kirk Cousins is the New Orleans Saints. Now, he does mention once again, the Falcons and the Saints are not going to trade with each other. I get it. You should not trade with your division rival. Let all the other teams in the NFL do that. Saints, Falcons, Bucks, Panthers, all of them should have that philosophy. But again, he's saying, okay, if he's outright released, could the Saints be a potential landing spot? And I started thinking about this like, okay, do I want Kirk Cousins with the New Orleans Saints as the next quarterback? Look, if Derek Carr is out with an injury, there's no question, at least proven-wise, Kirk Cousins is probably better than any other option you have this season. But does he make you better for the future? Not really. There's been a lot of discussion on this show about Kirko picks. Me, Jake, we have vastly different opinions of him. T-Bob kind of sits somewhere in the middle. Alondra's, I believe, more anti-Kirk than pro-Kirk. Look, we'll get their thoughts when they come back. We'll talk to all of them when they come back. I can appreciate that Kirk Cousins has done what he's done in his career. I think he's had a really good career. My point with Kirk Cousins has always been he is a very similar quarterback to Derek Carr, in my opinion. He's slightly better. I mean, because you go look at Kirk's numbers. Before last season, I mean, Kirk was really good. He was averaging 30 touchdown passes a season and about 9 picks a season for the last 5 in Minnesota. Really good numbers. However, he had a lot better weapons than Derek Carr as well. I mean, you went from Adam Thielen to Stephon Diggs. You lose Stephon Diggs. Everybody said, oh, well, what are the Vikings going to do? Enter a guy named Justin Jefferson. It's very easy to play with those weapons. And in that offense, look what Sam Darnold did last year. Is Kirk Cousins as bad as he was in Atlanta last year? 18 touchdowns, 16 picks? No. Is he as dominant as he was at times in Minnesota? No. I think he's somewhere in the middle. Do you bring in a quarterback that's not young? He's about the same age as Derek Carr, roughly. performed similar to Derek Carr. He hasn't had any playoff success. That was a big knock when you signed Derek Carr. Kirk Cousins doesn't really have any playoff success either. At least not any consistency. You're probably going to have to give him a somewhat decent contract. He's going to want a multi-year deal that you're probably not willing to do. So sure, Kirk Cousins is a big name. He would be an upgrade. One, you're taking the Atlanta Falcons as leftovers, which I know Saints fans are going to feel a certain way about. But also, what does Kirk Cousins give you that you don't already have? I mean, nothing. And I get it. Kirk had flashes last year. It was the overtime game where they beat the Bucs. Kind of halfway through the season. He threw for 500 yards in that game. Everybody's like, oh, Kirk Cousins finally getting into a rhythm in this offense. It just took a little while. He was benched like 3 weeks later. Penix came in, then they went back to Cousins, and then ultimately the last 3 games of the year, it was all Michael Penix. Kirk Cousins last year started 14 games. 67% completion, 3,500 yards. Okay, all that's fine. 18 touchdowns, 16 picks, and a 7-7 record. And that 7-7 record was against the New Orleans Saints, who had so many injuries, the Carolina Panthers, who are awful, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who had one of the worst defenses in the league. That's what Kirk Cousins did in the division. Now, he handled the Bucs, but again, one of the worst defenses in the league. That was a 500-yard game. As good as the Bucs' offense was, their defense was awful. Even when they were fully healthy, and they weren't healthy for most of the year. I'm going to say no thanks to Kirk Cousins. I know we talked about Aaron Rodgers a little bit yesterday. I said no thanks to him. I'm saying no thanks to Kirk Cousins as well. And I get it. You go look at the free agent market. There's not a ton out there. Maybe they do draft Shedeur Sanders. Maybe they take a quarterback that they really like in the second and third round, let them sit behind either Carr or Spencer Rattler this year. Or maybe they don't take a QB at all. They roll with Spencer Rattler. They get a high draft pick. They take a top flight QB in 2026 when there's a ton of them available. Whatever they decide to do, don't do this. And again, this was just one guy's thought that he had thrown out there. This was Cody Benjamin of CBS Sports. I get it. This is nothing concrete. There's no Kirk Cousins to New Orleans rumors. He just threw it out there, wanted to see how people respond. My response is thanks, but no thanks. We're good over here in New Orleans. We don't need Kirk Cousins. We don't need Derek Carr 2.0.
Wow, just amazing black and gold takes right there, Jake.
I don't think I've ever heard any takes that are better than the two guys that just gave you that take.
And you can keep getting them by going ahead and liking, subscribing, ringing the bell to get notifications when we post. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next OTB Saints.